Hello everyone, I am going to be teaching you how to do this look. This is a half cut crease. So I'm going to be going over how to do that. And the palette that I'm going to be using is my Morphe palette. It is 35V. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you're just tuning in today to learn how to do a half cut crease and you don't necessarily have the Morphe palette, to use exactly what I'm using, that's totally okay. I'll try and go over the different details on what you should be using in the palette that you have, just to kind of give everyone some general information on how to pull off a cut crease. Also, in addition to the palette that you're going to be using today for your eyeshadow, you are going to need a couple different things to pull off a half cut crease. You're definitely going to need a foundation of some sort. You can also use, if you have like a concealer that you use for highlights, something like that, you can definitely use that too, and I'll explain what we do with the foundation to achieve the look. So make sure that you have this handy with you as well. The second thing that you're going to need to have with you is some kind of setting spray is usually the best. I use MAC personally, but at some point we're going to be wetting the brushes that we use, so a setting spray will work just fine with that. I also have a liquid liner that I'm going to be using today for this look. I just picked up NYX. It's the vinyl liquid liner. It is amazing. I'm so excited to show you. It goes on so easy. It's so easy to work with. I'm just a diehard fan of this product. Also an avid user of makeup tapes, so I picked this up from Amazon. Super inexpensive. You can get this actual tape dispenser. You get 2 rolls of tape with it as well. It's somewhere around 10 bucks. If you don't have makeup tape, Scotch tape works just the same, so be sure to have that too. Last but not least, I do use my favorite gel liner by MAC. It is in shade black, and I just have a regular brush to apply it, and that's going to go on our inner lid. This is also your first time ever doing a cut crease. Do not be discouraged. It is a really hard look to pull off. So don't be too upset if it doesn't turn out the way that you want. Practice, practice, practice. I watched a ton of YouTube makeup tutorials to learn how to do this, so just keep practicing. It is not an easy look to just wing. You will absolutely have to put some time into this. All right, everyone, so I have my makeup tape ready to go. You just want to basically at the corner of your eye, just make it a straight line. This is where the eyeshadow is going to stop, and it's going to give you a nice clean look when you pull it off. All right, you guys, so once again, I am going to be using my Morphe palette. You can see all of the colors in there. Whatever palette you're using, basically the first step is going to be to pick a couple different colors that really are of the same family. So I'm going to be working with some tan colors initially, and then I'm going to build in some different colors. You notice underneath this eye and then towards the middle of the cut crease on this side, we're going to be adding in some different colors. So whatever palette that you're going to be using, find a couple of colors that are really similar. Usually neutral is the best. So again, the tans today are what we're working with, and then we're going to be building in some color after that. We are going to start with lighter shades and then gradually work into darker shades. So the shade that I'm going to be starting with is this one here. And I just have a round fluffy brush. We're going to go ahead and apply it to the outer corners of the eye and just work our way inwards. Just for a nice base color. Make sure you're hitting that tape too, because we want to get it all to that specific point, and then we'll pull the tape off and it'll be nice and clean. All right, so that is all set. I'm going to go just a shade darker, and it's going to be right next door to the one I just used. It's going to be this one here, and it's going to be the same application process. We're just going to build it on top of the light that we already did. So I'm going to start in the corner and just work the way towards the inner eye there. And that's just nice and blended. Again, make sure you're getting it to that tape at the end. When I first started using tape, I would like avoid that. It's like, well, Why even use tape? So now I'm going to go in with a third color to put on top of the first two that we already did. Again, try and keep it all in the family, all of the same color. The next one I'm going to be using is this one here. And it's the exact same application process as the first two. We start in the corner and then work towards the inner eye. All right. Perfect. So the next step that we're going to be doing is we're actually going to put in a very dark color to essentially give us the shape. We're going to be applying it all across the lid, and then I am going to be blending it in the corner. So I recommend having a very thin brush, something like this, to apply that. And I'm going to be honest with you, at some point this is going to look really, really messy. So if you're putting this on your eye and you're like, oh my God, this is a hot mess, we're going to clean it, I promise. So hang tight for me. So at this point, we're going to be adding a darker shade. So I am going to be going with this one here. No matter what palette that you're using, make sure that at this point you're using something darker because it's going to contrast with what you already have. I'm also going to be honest with you, when we apply this part, your eye might look like a hot freaking mess. Don't panic, we're going to get through it, we're going to clean it up, and it's going to look okay, I promise. All right, so again, thin brush, and we're going to start, I like to start kind of in the middle, sometimes I start on the inside. We're really just trying to make a clean line. All right, so you can kind of see what we have going on here. Again, don't panic, it's gonna look like a hot mess and we are gonna clean it. Using the same brush, I am gonna go ahead and just shade in the end of the eye here. I like to bring it out, use the tape as your guideline. And we're just gonna blend it into that upper line that we created. Blend the corner, and then you're gonna see the three colors we did previously are all gonna kind of blend into this area. That's exactly what we want. Just a nice smooth transition. There is a whole lot of blending involved as we're doing cut creases. So there's gonna be long points where you're just gonna be going over and over and over and over and over the same spot, but it's gonna look amazing. All right, you guys, so this is the point that we're gonna be adding some foundation to our lid. This is probably one of the more stressful points of this, especially if you're just doing this look for the first time. You're not going to be really comfortable to know where exactly your natural crease lies. I have a lot of lid space to work with, so sometimes I do more subtle cut creases and then sometimes I do more dramatic. This is kind of a halfway point what I have on this eye. So you want to try and have a steady hand if possible. If you have shaky lids, just anticipate that ahead of time. Make sure you take breaks. You don't have to go as fast as I do. So I hope that this makes sense to you. So I have my foundation ready to go. Again, you can also use, if you have a concealer that you like to use for contour, that would be fine too. But basically, we're going to clean up all of the powder underneath the darker line that we just did. So again, go nice and slow. No need to rush this part. You just pick a starting point. You can start at the inner lid. You can start in the middle where I do. Wherever is most comfortable. And you're just going to make your movements really slow because you don't want to overdo it. And really steady because you want to have that line as straight as possible for the most dramatic look possible. Slow and steady wins the cut crease race. So you can see I kind of already have a good shape going. I am just going to extend it a little bit further into my eye here. I've also seen some tutorials where makeup artists will pull their eyes to get it more even. If you're comfortable with that, please do that. Try that technique and see if it works for you. Again, you might not be able to achieve this look right off the bat. It's definitely something that takes some time and practice, but this will at the very least hopefully give you a good place to start. And we're not doing a total eye, so you can just kind of stop wherever you're comfortable with, because we're going to be blending that in later. It's pretty close to perfect. You guys survived that step. I know it's super scary, but we're gonna make it through it. So this is the look that we have so far. I told you it's gonna be looking like a hot mess for a few minutes. This is part of that hot mess process. So now we're gonna go ahead and go with the lighter color, and we're gonna be using our setting spray to wet the brush. All right, so my brush is wet. So again, no matter what palette you're using, at this point, a white is going to be the most dramatic difference between the colors that we already used and then the colors that we're going to be doing on the lid. So for the Morphe palette, I'm going to be using this white sparkly one in the corner. My brush is already wet, doesn't have to be drenched, just a good amount of moisture on it. It just makes the shadow a little bit easier to work with and push around. So I'm going to start in the corner. And also, if you went ahead and did your cut crease with your foundation, you can see I kind of left a little bit of imperfection in here, because we can fix that. So if you don't have a perfectly straight line, we're going to go back and I'm going to show you how to fix that. This is part of that process. So we're basically just trying to achieve a nice smooth look, and you can push. You see, I'm kind of correcting it there. Just kind of go over that area. If you have any slight bumpies, you can see I pretty much got them all out, and it's super easy just by using your white. And then I am going to show you, we're going to go over the top portion just to give it a little bit more definition, but so you're just gonna keep working with your lighter color on the lid. We are gonna be doing a transition color between the dark and the white. So you can go all the way over. You don't have to go all the way on your entire eye right now. You can just kind of focus in this area. Having that wet brush just makes it way easier to move this. All right, so you can pretty much see I'm just about done with that white there. And now we're gonna go into our transition color in the middle of our dark and our transition color in the middle between our dark and our white is where you can have a lot of fun and be creative. I've done looks with blue, I've done works with gold and pink and everything that you can think of. So this is your time to go ahead and spice it up, choose whatever color that you want. We're going to be putting it again right in the middle of these two. And then typically what I do with the color that I choose for here is I usually line my lid with it on the bottom. So for this look, I'm going to be using kind of a rosy colored. I'm going to be using this one here. And I'm just going to take a nice fluffy brush. Got my rosy ready to go. And we're just going to blend it in. Make sure you try and get at least to the halfway point on your eye. I mean, like the space here. Just try to get it over at least halfway. If you wanted to, you could leave the entire eye white and just have the dark in the corner. You can do this 100 different ways. You can definitely see that rosy color coming through. All right, so that's pretty much done. So I am going to go back into the darker shade and just blend this rosy colored in with the darker shade. And then I'm going to work my way right back around the eye just to make sure we have some good definition between the lid and then our actual cut crease with the white. So I am going to go back to my darker shade. This is the one that I used. And as I mentioned, I'm going to be working back around the eye. Raise those eyebrows if you can, that'll help. It'll help it not get messy. So now I'm going to go in with a white. And I'm just going to clean up towards the top of the eyebrow all the way to the end, just to make sure everything is nice and blended. Right now you can see it's pretty sharp, kind of hard lines. So adding that white is definitely going to clean it up. So I'm just going to use the same white that I did for the cut crease. And just start in the middle and work your way around the eye. Nice and blended. And then sometimes at the very end of the look, I just go back over with the brush that I used for our initial colors when we started. Just make sure they're blending nicely with the white that we did at the top. Go around the eye. Just go really slow. We don't want to mess up all the work we just did. And it just helps create that dramatic effect. Right, so the cut crease portion of this tutorial is totally done. I hope that you were able to achieve your look. I'm so excited to see how everyone's looks turned out. The next portion of this is going to be the liner portion. Again, I use the NYX vinyl liner. It's just in shade black. I'm in love with this liner because basically it's more of a brush that you can apply with versus the hard tip. I find the hard tip to be a little bit challenging to work with, and I find it a little bit hard to correct any mistakes that you might have made if it wasn't 100% smooth. I also think that liquid eyeliner can sense your fear, so go slow on this part too. Always getting compliments on my liner, and I wish that you guys knew how much fear liquid liner gives me. But I'm really excited about this product. This one's awesome. So I like to do a pretty dramatic liner there, very sharp, and our tape still helps with that. So I'm going to go along the tape here. You see how easy this stuff goes on? It's just insane. It's so good. You see what I mean? This product is seriously a game changer. It just goes on so easy. It's not difficult to be consistent with it, get straight lines. It's easy to work with. And the best part about this product is it's so inexpensive. It's less than $10. All right, so grand finale. We pulled our tape off. Look how clean that is. Still have a little bit of liner to do. Just gonna finish that up. Also, pulling on your eye at this point might help as well. How's that? Pretty freaking good, right? It dries nicely. It doesn't get on the upper lid. It's such a game changer. Good job, NYX. All right, so now I'm going to go in with my MAC gel eyeliner, and I'm just going to do my inner lid. I also do my upper lid. I don't recommend that for anybody that gets real squeamish about doing liner or putting things near their eye. Done. Now we're going to do the upper lid. Done. All right, so I did clean up my liner a little bit. in between takes. I don't need you guys sitting here watching me doing eyeliner for 20 minutes of your life. You'll never get those hours back. So now I'm just going to be doing the last step, which is going to be applying that same color that we used for the transition color in between our dark and our light. That rosy color that I used earlier, I like to use the exact same color under the lids. So I'm just going to do that now. It's just like a nice little pop of color, a little bit of detail, and then just bringing that kind of look all together. That's probably the easiest thing we did all day. Look at that. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of mascara on the lower lids, and then we'll be applying lashes, and we are totally done. So previously on Instagram, I did just a really quick video on how to put falsies on. My best friend watched it and she was like, you went way too fast and you made it look way too easy. So I'm gonna go over it again. I wanted to do it in a way that I can show you exactly how I do it without basically putting the video up my nose, but that might be the easiest way. So I apologize for what you're gonna see next. Normally my trick is to put a mirror underneath your eye as you do this, but I'm going to use the camera as my mirror so I can show you guys a little bit better how we do this. All right, you guys, I promise close and personal. That's exactly what you're getting. Way too much Alley Bird today, but this I'm hoping will help you see a little bit better. So I've got my strip ready to go. I'm going to grab it by both ends, the front and the back. Just lean the head back. And you're just going to set it on top of your lashes. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just pushing the lashes, the falsies, against my actual lashes to get it as close to the lash line as possible. And I'm just, again, pushing, pushing, pushing. Don't be afraid to be too rough with them. It can be helpful if you buy lashes that have sort of an already inline shape versus the ones that are really pliable and bendy, because those tend to, once you put it on your eye, they will slip off and then you get glue in your eye, and no one likes that. I hope I caught that all on video for you guys. Just keep pushing them in and down. And these are pretty much 100% on my lash line. All right, so I'm just going to be adding mascara to my lashes to make sure that they blend in nicely with the falsies. We are done. Okay, you guys, we are totally done with our look. I can't wait to see how yours turns out. If you would just give me a thumbs up on this video so I know that it was good. If you're not already, give me a follow on Instagram. My username is always in my videos, but it's ALLYB1RD. Thank you all. We'll see you next time.